All right. Yeah, I was reading a comment where I'm like, I'm not going to exploit what Joe's saying or twist it. And I'm not. But I realized by accident, I have already done that because of a jerk named Chris Todd who put out a book and did include what Joe said to him, but also amped it up a lot and twisted it in his own way. Whoever's watching right now, I read a comment about how, I said I'm not going to exploit what Joe's saying or twist it or anything. And then I realized, wait, I've already done that by accident because of a jerk named Chris Todd who wrote a book with Joe and twisted shit. Now, Mark Lanigan was involved, and so is Dylan Carlson. But just because, they're involved and Chris Todd wants to add more to the story, that's not true, doesn't mean Mark and Dylan weren't actually there. They were there. What it means is that Joe has been exploited by an asshole that wants to make money off of him and juice the story up to get more fucking viewers, and it doesn't even need that. People want to know what happened to Kurt Cobain. They don't want something made up and to believe that. Nothing needs to be made up here. People have been waiting for this. Hey, Eric. So who do you think was there that night? From what I know, it was just Jennifer Adamson, Jessica Hopper, Dylan, Mark, Joe, Bonnie, and Callie. Hey, from Chile. But yeah, I'm not trying to twist what Joe said. Somebody else already did that. Didn't realize that. And so I kept making videos with it, obsessed with it, thinking I finally have the truth now. If I knew that Chris Todd had made shit up for real in that second book, I wouldn't have spent over 5 hours making videos about it. That would be fucking stupid. But yes, Mark Lanigan and Dylan Carlson were there. Chris Todd, well, he heard Joe's story and he wanted to twist it and spike it up, and there was no need for that. He thought that would do him good, but really it's just going to piss people off a lot, and it's going to do actually more damage. So I question who he really works for. I know he's talking with the Who Killed Kurt people and blah, 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 and they all pretend that they don't speak to each other. I know that's happening. But I wonder who else he's fucking working with. Thank you. I put a lot into these videos, and to find out that somebody is exploiting what Joe said, and I was standing up for him, being like, no, that was the first book where he made shit up. And then I'm on a live stream with Joe and Chris Todd, personally, in my apartment, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, because it was brought up that Kurt was hit in the head with something metal, and then Joe's like, oh, is that what I said? He wasn't hit with something metal. Kurt was hit, like slapped in the face with something by Mark, like the heroin kit or something. And then a little kind of tussle broke out, and Joe's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And Kurt, the last thing we know from Kurt was he said, it's okay, it's all right, everything's fine. And then Joe went upstairs with Bonnie, and whatever happened, happened. He's seen him unconscious being dragged out of the house by Mark and Dylan. And the third individual, this is what's concerning, because there might be one or two other people that we don't know about, but they most certainly know about us, and people like me speaking about them. Matthew believes Danny was there doing heroin, though, but not bringing Courtney there or anything like that. I spoke with Matthew about that. But Joe said to me and to Chris that the third individual that night had hair down to his chin, all the way around, and Danny didn't. So whoever that person is, And whoever maybe the other person is too. I mean, it's pretty concerning when you know there's a murder here and there's one or two other killers that could be walking around your own neighborhood and know exactly who you are because you're talking about the murder all the time, every day. And you don't have any clue who they are. Yeah, Joe isn't a liar. Tom, yep. Chris Todd, yep. What Joe said about Mark Lanigan and Dylan being there is true on that night, early morning. But Chris Todd twisted it, and there was no need for him to do that. He thought that would give him more sales, I guess. There was no need for that. People just wanted to know what happened to Kurt. There's no need to make anything up. And so I question who he's working for. Again, I know the Who Killed Kurt and Kurt's Army and all them. They all speak to each other, and they all pretend not to. That's why they're always sharing screenshots all the time. It's been that way for about 3 years now, and it hasn't changed. But I question who he's really working for above just little YouTubers. Especially since he's like, we want to leave Courtney's name out of this. Just leave her out of it. Leave her out of it. Why? In what other cold cases are detectives or anyone else like, we know this person fucking is the one that wanted this murder to happen, but we're just going to leave them out of it. So, again, Kurt Cobain being smacked in the face with the heroin kit or something else is what Joe seen. Joe said, what the fuck, what the fuck? Kurt said, it's okay, everything's fine. And Joe went back upstairs. Sometime later, Kurt comes back up with Mark and Dylan forcing him back up because he was unconscious. So some kind of bigger struggle happened after Joe left. And the only person we have to work with right now over all this is Joe. Bonnie's not saying anything. Bonnie's too Christian. She's too of a good Christian person to actually tell the truth and be good and do good for this world. We understand that. That's most Christians. All right. But Joe, the apparent neo-Nazi, is doing a lot better than the Christian that wants to not tell the truth and not say anything. And I know I shouldn't be like this towards everyone, but I am to her. This is really important. And if she wants to hide behind a label and let people get away with a murder, that's not going to make her a good person, even though she thinks it does. I mean, Bonnie Dillard, can you hear me? I hope you fucking listen to this. It's Zachary McQuaid. Do you want more copycat unalivings to happen? Is that going to make your Christian heart feel good? In Matthew's book, there's kids that were underage that have shot themselves in the head with shotguns. That's not too funny. That's not too cool. You just want it to continue to happen? Oh, because you don't want to go to jail. Because you're a good Christian and you're changed now. Okay. More copycat unalivings happening then. Thank you for fucking thinking you're a good person. That helped a lot. Yeah, I really hope they do open the case. Like, this is ridiculous. Kurt literally wanted his daughter and the money and was pissed off at Courtney and Billy Corgan. And then right at that moment, she has his own friends fucking kill him. And took everything that Kurt wanted to take. Everything that Courtney has now is what Kurt wanted. And she stole it from him like a fucking pirate. And she still gets to enjoy it. That's bullshit. Why do some people go to jail for stealing cookies and she can kill her husband and get away with it and go on live TV and be loved by millions of people? Why? Is that a good example for people? Is that a good example that A-lister celebrities should be like setting for people? It's good the police and everything, make sure they're okay and our security for them and everything and make sure they can do it. But we shouldn't be allowing people to get away with murder. And if you're a police officer or any other kind of person with the authorities, you shouldn't be like, yeah, let's just keep her walking around doing whatever the fuck she wants, being disrespectful to more people. This world is stupid. So, Eric, are you there? Do you think that Tom Grant um, got the black tar heroin with Mark and Dylan, the exact dose of it that killed Kurt? Or that was after and they picked up black tar heroin after, and Dylan and Mark are just pretending all along with Tom that they have no clue where Kurt is? I'm stuck on that, but I think it'd probably be the second one unless he did change the timeline, which is even what Danny said. And Danny was certain on Mark Lanigan being there. Then he dies. Then Joe comes forward with, yes, he was. Matthew thinks Danny was there. I don't know if Danny was. I was 1 year old. And Danny told the truth about a lot, and Danny lied about a lot. When he lied, it was because he's pissed at certain people for bringing his name back into it. So he wanted to bring danger to them, and I was stupid for letting him. I didn't fucking realize that's what he was doing. I just, whatever he was saying to me, I'm just like, okay. Yeah, but Courtney wasn't even there. I have an audio of Joe where he's saying Courtney wasn't even there. She made sure not to be there. And I can try to find it right now. I'm not saying I'm going to play it, but I have to find out where it is. Just a sec. That spells Mark. I don't know. I go, well, you don't need me to say anything. You can. Sec. Believe that's like just brings like it spells. Just are even down. Here, just a second. I'll be right back. I'm going to find where it is just saying that Courtney made sure she wasn't there. Just a sec. Okay, here we go with Joe talking about Courtney not being there. Here we go. Because I put it in my own mind that she was there, and I just I go back on that, but I know. No, she wasn't there. Yeah, I mean, she made sure not to be there. Right. Yeah, she got those other two thugs that were more into drugs to do it and more into violence to do it. Fuck. Okay, you guys hear that? So Courtney, he says, wasn't there. She made sure not to be there, and I believe him when he said that. It was Mark and Dylan and one or two other people. And at least one of the other people we don't know had hair down to their chin. And Eric said that could have been Renee, because Renee had hair down to his chin at that point. And Joe didn't really see Renee that much, right? Renee had his own kind of bedroom in the place somewhere where he could just chill. But it's kind of worrisome that we don't know who the other two individuals are when they could be still alive and walking around anywhere. Pat Sneer, no. Renee, no. He'd barely seen Renee. Basically only hang around his girlfriend and like Callie. And with Jennifer hanging around. Jessica's a different story. Who knows where the fuck she was? Probably in a bedroom somewhere. But I imagine they're not at the house all the time. They are leaving and going out places. Hey, MEG. Yeah, Roddy Bottom. I think he's lying about things, but then, nah. He was probably just there weeks before and everything. Because Joe would have mentioned him if he's seen him. For Joe to mention Mark Lanigan too, it's like there would be no sense if he just left out someone like Courtney or anything. She wasn't there. Because Joe would say it. He'd be stern about it, actually. The red dress thing is weird, you know? But then again, there is a photo of Mark Lanigan in a red dress. Right beside Kurt Cobain. We can't just think what we want to about it. We've really got to see it as it is. Like, I've worked on some cold cases myself, just researching into them, and I was like, oh, this and that and that and this happened. But when you really place yourself in what happened and what it looked like, it's totally different. But from Mark Lanigan's lyrics, you took a beating and you fell and you crawled. I know we can't tell if there was any injury on Kurt. Like, even the autopsy thing that we get. Like, I've noticed there was more things to Kurt, even his thumb. Actually, that's in the autopsy, but there's other things I noticed that I'm not remembering that aren't written down in that autopsy that should be. And we don't even have the full autopsy report. People took photos of some of it and released that. We didn't get the full report. So we're not seeing the full picture. Right, and do you guys remember, besides the practice handwriting sheet from Courtney, there was another one in her bag that was, it was like a list that said get arrested and everything, with check marks. That's been completely scrubbed from the internet now. I can't find it anywhere, and no one else can either. Does anybody else remember that second piece of paper where Courtney had a list of what she was going to do? Yeah. Yeah, there was no damage to the head. Kurt wasn't hit in the head with something metal. If you were listening to what I said before, Chris Todd made that up. Yes, Mark Lanigan and Dylan Carlson were there. But Joe, his story was picked up and exploited by somebody that wanted to twist it and make more money. Meanwhile, there was no fucking point in doing that because people just want to know what happened to Kurt Cobain. If I had have known that I was standing up for someone that was fucking twisting shit, I wouldn't have fucking spent over 5 hours making videos about it. That would have been so stupid. Yeah. And so we're going to discuss it and oh my God. It's so stupid. Joe has been exploited by people that want to twist his story and make more money and get more attention for themselves. And that's not what we're doing here. And I realized that I accidentally did that by believing Chris Todd's second book and standing up for it, saying, oh no, the first one is where he made shit up. No, the second one is too. Yes, Mark and Dylan were there. Mark is new news that we have. But what you're going to read into about it is twisted because somebody wanted to fucking twist it up. And it wasn't Joe that wanted to twist it. It was Chris Todd. And that's not even his real name. No wonder these people, even Michelle, don't use their real name. Michelle Wilkins, that's not even her real name. Her name's not Michelle. It's not even, her last name isn't even Wilkins. And she's in her 50s. So is Chris Guzzi or whatever, who's Chris Todd's real name. When people online are changing their name and lying about their age and trying to get money from people, you should consider them just to be a scammer. Regardless if they're, appealing to you or whatever, if they're not using their real name and real age and they want money, don't buy into them. If my life had a theme song, what would it be? Hmm. Good question. Yeah, just a sec. I'll answer that in a bit. Do you guys remember that second paper in Courtney's bag that was a list of things to do to get arrested and everything? That's been completely scrubbed from the internet. Try to look it up. You won't find it. Not even on any Facebook group anymore. You'll only find the practice handwriting sheet. Fuck. Unless I watched a documentary and heard that, like soaked in bleach or whatever, and thought that there was a second page. But I'm pretty sure on Facebook in like 2017, there were two pages, not just her practice handwriting sheet. There was also the list, and it had check marks and boxes beside it. I specifically remember that. And Will Seagram does too, but you can't find it anywhere online anymore. I'd say my theme song is I Found a Way by Drake Bell. The Drake and Josh theme song. There we go. That's dorky, but yep. Or I'll be punk rock. Uh, hmm. Nah. Punk rock is a good thing from the past. So, Eric, are you still here? I want that Harvey Ottinger to come on again. I can't believe it though. There's like a new video of him with Michelle, which is not even her real name. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is that guy that much of an idiot? What if in 1994 he was that much of an idiot too? And then I'm thinking, maybe he's not even like, he doesn't know what he's speaking about. But then I'm thinking, if they are working for Courtney, maybe they want people to fucking not trust what he has to say anymore. Why are you going on a platform of scammers that literally don't even use their real name, Michelle doesn't, or age? Again, when somebody on the internet doesn't use their real name, first name or last name, and changes their age, she's actually in her 50s, and they want your money right away, try to remember at least what a teacher said to you in school about people online. That's a scammer. And they're going to appeal to you and be your best friend. That's part of what they do. I fell for it. And unfortunately, more people have to fall for it. Because you can't really tell people. It's like politics. You can't let them see that both sides are crap. You gotta wait until they figure it out for themselves. But it's good to know that Courtney wasn't there. We can stop putting our energy into her. She made sure she wasn't there. The childhood photos. Apparently they did send them back, but not after taking many photos of them and sending them and spreading them online everywhere. And honestly, now someone's like, there's gonna be something coming out with Gary, and I don't even know her real name, so I won't say it, but never be rude to people in a way that could hurt them and want them to die. I mean, that's what's happened to me, and I don't want to be like that to people, even if I don't like them. That's what we're trying to stand up against here, actually. Well, what the public would think, since they think it was a suicide. But Anyway, if we want to do right for somebody, we have to not bully people. I get it. But we do have to call them out when they try to, like, rip people off and take money and lie about things and twist things. We do have to call that out because that is bad too. But we don't have to say things like they're mentally ill and bring up their history and everything. We don't have to be a jerk about it. We just have to talk about what they're doing that they shouldn't be doing. Mark Lanigan was there. Michelle Wilkins, even though you want to change your name and say that Mark Lanigan wasn't there, I mean, that doesn't make it true. Joe even told her, "Have you read my book?" She's like, "No." Well, don't say he wasn't there. Because now you're getting hundreds, if not thousands, of people to discredit everything that Joe said just because somebody named Chris Todd wanted to twist what he had to say. And it makes me think that that's done on purpose. Because why is that happening at all? If you're really for Kurt Cobain, you should be like, hey, what Joe is saying is true, but somebody else is exploiting him and twisting what he said. That's what you should say if you're standing up for Kurt Cobain and not yourself and your own platform. Your own platform. Most people care more about their own platform than they do about Kurt Cobain when they become monetized. Think about how many fans Who Killed Kurt have in the grunge scene of Mark Lanigan's. If they were to say, yes, unfortunately, guys, it is true, Mark Lanigan was indeed there, they're going to lose thousands of fans and thousands of dollars. Yeah, there are two books, and there's truth to them, but there's a lot of shit that was twisted because somebody exploited Joe. And a lot of people want to hop on that and exploit him too. And I don't care. I've already tried to unalive myself over this in 2017 after speaking with Hank Harrison. I'm willing to find out what exactly happened. And I'm willing to look like an idiot to get there. I'm not going to say this did or didn't happen when I'm not going to speak to like the eyewitness and ask him first. I'm going to ask him, and that's what I'm doing. And anyone can reach out to Joe and talk to him. You don't have to send them money or anything. Joe's his own person. It's not like the Kurt Cobain thing and Joe is stuck to a certain YouTube channel. The only reason why it looks that way is because some people want to exploit what he has to say and make money. Joe's on whatever platform he wants to be on. He's working with whoever he wants to work with. There isn't one source of where Joe is. Exactly, and Mark was talking about doing stupid stuff all the time in his latest book. And then some comments like, I don't think Mark would be that stupid. I did that photo of the greenhouse, put it into ChatGPT, and I'm like, does that look like a word written on the wall? And without saying that it was Mark's name, ChatGPT wrote, yes, it does look like there's a word carved there, and it looks like the word Mark. I didn't even ask it if it looked like the word Mark. So that's what freaked me out. The person in Mark Lanigan's last book, his autobiography, is one of the people that were calling in Unsolved Mysteries in 1997 and giving him tips about Mark Lanigan's involvement. It's right there. We can go around it and try to look somewhere else and keep the mystery going for another 30 years. Or we can be like, hey, the simple picture is right there. I don't know. When we solve it, does that mean people can't make money anymore in questioning who killed Kurt? That's a good thing. We'll find different ways to make money. Oh, fuck. It's not even about that. But since it seems to be, fuck. I know, the Tracy thing, that I connected that. Thank you, Grunge Gods. I connected so much. Even the last album that he did with Skeleton Joe. People want to be like, oh no, that was Skeleton Joe writing it. Look at the first song, Living Dead. Your daddy is almost home. He jumped over the wall. He's only 2 states away. And Mark Lanigan probably believed the thing about jumping over a wall because Courtney was yapping that bullshit to everybody. We got it. We got the killers. I think some people want the mystery to keep going. I think they're not going to know what to do with their lives when the mystery is over. And it pretty much is. The only thing we don't know is what exactly happened to Kurt to make him unconscious in the basement. We know, obviously, a needle, but we don't know how he was attacked, you know? But we know he was. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, tall red haired man. Wow. Yeah, even one is saying someone involved, you got to look at the name Mark. He's a close associate of Kurt's. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, but did you even see Mark Lanigan's last interview? He's like, I'm kind of afraid of there being an afterlife. Something like to that effect. Well, if Kurt Cobain was still alive, he had a lot more to give to this world than just music. It was more about conscious connection and connecting with people where people usually wouldn't connect. You know, people that wouldn't connect, he was able to make them connect and relate to each other and bring about that good feeling of euphoricness of nirvana together. That would have went a lot deeper, and that would have been so much better for this world rather than all these A-lister celebrities and all their popularity online with their blue check marks, and we got to listen to them and their stupid shit. I mean, look what they left us with. Or maybe it's just because Kurt Cobain was part of the 90s and that more simple time of life is gone with him. And I feel like that simple time of life could have stayed and it could have got even a lot better from the 90s. Instead, got to the year 2000 and beyond, and it's just totally fucking chaos. Thank you. Yeah, he was already high, just like Joe said, he was kind of already out of it. But Kurt was refusing to do their heroin and was slapped in the face with either the heroin kit or something else by Mark. A little struggle happened, but Kurt said it was okay, everything's fine. When after Joe yelled, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" So some other attack happened, obviously. Right, exactly. They're so close, too. They're even saying that in the interview they both did together. On After Dark, I think it was. But now we know who it is. I just think some people don't want the mystery to end because they don't know what to do with themselves after. Because Dylan was with him when it was happening. They were both involved. And now there's one or two other people we don't know of. And that's concerning because they probably watch these videos. That's why the police should really do their job. I mean, there's real killers out there that are getting exploited online, and, worse things could happen. So I think they should take the law seriously. That would be cool. If I can get in trouble for threatening someone, they should get in trouble for killing someone. I'm just saying. Are you allowed to kill someone and then wait 30 years and it's okay? You're a normal human again? You can be viewed like that? I guess so. So yeah. And Kurt would have been one of these A-lister celebrities. Let's say he had a blue checkmark profile online. He would have been one that's connecting with all his fans and doing projects with them. Not ignoring them or saying like, oh, thank you for loving me in my life. He'd actually be collaborating with people and seeing them as human beings. Not a person to just fucking gain money off of. Yeah, there was a lot of mean messages left by Billy Corgan on Kurt Cobain's answering machine when he got back home from to Seattle. Yep. And Billy Corgan knows that, obviously. And Courtney purposely sent him something about Billy Corgan to make him so mad at rehab that he's like, fuck you, fuck this. I'm doing my own thing. I'm not fucking taking your bullshit help. That's the final straw. I'm fucking helping myself my own way, which is getting the fuck away from you and your friends that you control and taking the money away from you and his daughter. And what did Courtney do? She stopped him from doing that and she took all that stuff herself. Yeah. I mean, they all just want to look great in the media and everything and be popular, but when kids start unaliving themselves with shotguns because they think Kurt did, I don't really find it cool and sexy and classy like they do. I don't know why they think that is that way. Do they realize those are the things they have done in this life by the ways they've behaved and what they've done? Do they even give a fuck? They should, and they will one day. Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, you're literally trying to take everything away from Courtney or from a person, and then you're killed, and then that person takes it all from you instead. And he was really angry and sad, and they leave him in that state. They kill him in that state. And just take everything. No fucks given about him. No real care given about him. Fake care, yeah. That's so stupid. And anyone would know, especially these days, you don't do an intervention for someone just because you want to make money off of them. That would be something you don't see on intervention on A&E. If you did, even the person like holding the camera or whatever would probably walk out of it. Business reasons. Say with Todd Grant, business reasons. We're looking for Kurt for business reasons. Yeah, Kurt was just hanging out. He was already high from heroin. I don't know about the weed, maybe before, but that wasn't in his system. Maybe a little bit was, right? Yeah, yeah. So he was. He was doing that in the basement. All I know is that Mark slapped Kurt in the face with a heroin kit or something like that. And Kurt said it was okay when Joe kept saying, what the fuck, what the fuck. Then Joe went upstairs with Bonnie, and I guess Callie, maybe Jennifer, or maybe she was in a room. I don't know. She didn't want him to leave Exodus, Courtney. She didn't plan on that, but it did it. It did it to him because Kurt was like, fuck you, bitch. I'm doing my own thing now. And then when they found out he left Exodus, they were pissed. And when they found out he was really leaving, and that was the last straw for them too, just like it was for Kurt. And to kill him while he's in that state of anger and sadness and wanting to get his life back together, and then rewrite your own history of him is beyond theft. Yeah, he was leaving millions of dollars. He was refusing millions of dollars. She wasn't going to get that. She wasn't going to get the house. She wasn't going to get any other money. She wasn't even going to get her own daughter. They could have done that too. But I think it would have been harder at Exodus because there's cameras everywhere. Matthew even talked to Exodus, and they seen him on video walking out the front door. If Tom was really investigating it, just like Matthew said, then he should have found that out himself. And that should have been in Soaked in Bleach too, that he just walked out the front door. Instead, in Soaked in Bleach, we're getting Courtney's version of events as factual. Some of them, and that's weird. Yeah, Tom was played totally, and he's still being played. If he doesn't believe it was Mark and Dylan, if he can't connect the things that I can connect from the Unsolved Mystery Tips and Mark Lanigan's last book and album before he died, then maybe he's a failed police officer for a reason. Maybe he is actually that dumb. Maybe Courtney actually is right about Tom being dumb. Yeah, he is. And she's right about that. She's telling the truth when she says he's dumb. Yeah. I mean, if Tom Grant can be taken advantage of and lied to by drug addicts and he'll believe them, then he shouldn't be a police officer. Damn right. That's so stupid. I'm 32 years old and he's like in his 60s or something, or 70s. He has so many years to figure this out. And he has so much information now. In the age of information, he wants everything to remain a mystery still, for some reason. Stop doing that. It looks like you're involved. It makes it look like you are. Yeah, and what if some of those videos in Soaked in Bleach, the surveillance videos, like I looked at one of those people, and one of them looks like Danny. But we don't know. I mean, he shows a lot of things and says only the killers will know in Project Unplugged. And I bet he was doing that before that. But I could be wrong on that, so whatever. But really, you have all that surveillance tape? You have so many tapes, recorded tapes of phone calls. I guarantee Mark is mentioned in them. I guarantee it. And the fact that he blurs out Mark Lanigan's face while looking at the car that was in front of Chris's place, that's not Dylan, that's Mark. Why are you purposely leaving out Mark's name? And if you're not purposely leaving it out, well, look at all the information we have now and everything that I've connected. Now do your job as a investigator, because we've waited 32 years for you to do so. I'm gonna ask him because I've done a lot of video chats with Joe where I'm wearing the same shirt, the half Japanese one that Kurt died in. And there's been times where Joe looked at it kind of like, whoa, like he's trying to remember something, or kind of is. But I'm gonna ask him about the shirt next time I'm wearing. Yeah, there was a lot of cameras. Exodus seen him leave the rehab right out the door on camera. Matthew Ricker called and they confirmed that. Nice. I would blare. Even Blair things about Kurt Cobain being murdered. I'll make something that really points it out that if anyone were to hear it when they were walking by and hearing it, that they'd know what they're listening to right away. It'll catch their attention. Stop doing what? I know, people want the mystery to keep going. Once we have it solved, people aren't going to know what to do with their lives. I understand. Yep. Fuck the mystery, though. Everything's pretty much in the open. And even Joe was saying that with me. Like, people are really starting to get it now. They're connecting everything. So, yeah. Out of nowhere, I think possibly Joe. He can still do that, even though I can't really speak about it, but there's ways. But really, we got to think about him. He said it. He he got his story twisted by other people. I'm going to undo that for him. But he really just wants to be left alone about it. But I can at least do my work here with him where I fix up what other people twisted on him. And then we leave it like that. If he ever wants to speak about it again, he can. But it would be better let him have some peace. He got what he wanted out there. He told it all. I'm just going to fix it up so that I take out everything that someone, Chris Todd, and other people have twisted. We'll get rid of all the bullshit. We'll only leave what Joe really says happened. And even if we don't know exactly how he was attacked in the basement, well, at least we know everything else is true. And we're not making anything up. Yeah, he did. And the week before the intervention and everything, he was at Caitlin Moore's place and he was telling her that he was getting death threats and he didn't want to go home. And she thought he was making up a story and attention seeking, like trying to make her feel sorry for him. And she made sure, she called Courtney and said, he'll be out by morning time. And she stayed true to her word, unfortunately. No, Kurt was smacked in the face with a heroin kit or something by Mark Lanigan. And Joe seen it and said, what the fuck? What the fuck? And Kurt said, it's okay, everything's fine. Joe went upstairs, and then whatever happened to Kurt happened. That's where Chris Todd filled in the missing spaces and made up that story about him being hit in the head with something metal. I didn't realize that. If I realized that, I wouldn't have spent more than 5 hours videos about it. And I'm like, I'm not going to twist what Joe said, but now I realize other people have, and I've been saying what other people said. And I got to stop doing that. I'll just continue with linking all this stuff with Mark Lanigan and Dylan together. And listening to exactly what Joe says. Well, Joe said they could have injected more heroin into Kurt in the greenhouse too. He doesn't know if they injected him at all in the basement or all of it, you know? All we know is they were dragging Kurt out of the house, and Joe said to me and to Chris on video that if they would have let go of Kurt, Kurt would have just dropped to the floor. So he was unconscious and totally out of it. Michael Stevens, I do know, actually. And I can say that confidently because I'm speaking with the eyewitness Joe Burns that was there that night before YouTubers even existed. That means I can confidently say that I know what I'm talking about. right? Yeah, the Band-Aid was on Kurt's other arm, on his right arm. His left arm was where all the bruising was. So it looks like they didn't attack him on the right, because even that Band-Aid would have been gone. They wouldn't try to... The murderers killing him, doing something so brutal to him, are not going to be like, here's a Band-Aid. So obviously everything was done on the left arm, and there was a struggle there. Because there's bruising. And it looks like he was stabbed many times in like a row, like all the way up his arm. And then the final one, like right in the middle of the in-between of his arm, right where his vein is, and just really plunged into there. Right. Over 10 times. Right. Yeah, everything was done to Kurt's left arm. And I imagine if Courtney was telling the truth about him being in that jacket at the time that he died, I don't think they would have stabbed it through that. They would have at least shoved that jacket sleeve up a bit, and maybe that's why the injections are so like low on Kurt's left arm and really forced. So Kurt, we know that Kurt was refusing to do any share of heroin that they had. But let's say when Joe left the basement and went upstairs, let's say if Kurt gave in, then obviously they would have just given him a hot shot for himself to take. And if he still refused it, I can see them cooking it up there, because you can't just walk around with it for so long after you cook it up. You got to use it. So I can see them just cooking it up in front of him if he refused it and just acting like they're going to shoot it themselves. Michael Stevens, there's a lot revealing here. I've put in the connections with Mark Lanigan in his last album with Skeleton Joe and his last autobiography with the Unsolved Mysteries tips from 1997, you moron. Are you just commenting to be an asshole? Because there's a lot new stuff. There's a lot of new revealing stuff here. And if you can't see that, I think you're blind. Or you're just a complete moron. I do need mods in here. Michael Stevens. Courtney is so annoying. Okay. Let's see. Alright, I did it. Smells like gaming spirits. Okay, Necessary Evil 2. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, I love you too, Courtney. Michael Stevens. Alright, thank you. It's, I think I'm going to leave it like that for now, though. I'll come back on later, and I'll speak more about this and Chris Todd and the damage that he has done. Yeah, it's probably Michelle, but Michelle isn't even her real name. Her name's not Michelle Wilkins. That's not her real name. And she's in her 50s. I just found that out the other day. But yeah, we're going to be respectful to all of them. But if people are twisting Joe's words and scamming, we're at least going to call that out in a respectful way and not bring people down based on mental illness or whatever in their life. We won't take it a personal way like that. We will just straighten things up. Tracy is mentioned in Mark's book by one of the people he did a shout out for in his book about being one of the people that were really close to him and helped him a lot in his life. I think that's actually in a chapter. I'll bring it back up. I'll do a video on that. And she's one of the same people in 1997 that called in tips about Mark Lanigan being involved in Kurt's death, murder. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you later, though. I'll be back. Let's I don't know. Let's do a better job than people twisting Joe's words. We'll straighten everything up for Joe and for everybody else. All right. Peace. Well, it's not BS, but they are doing things that aren't right. All right. Peace, guys. See ya. I'll see you later. I'll be back on later tonight. Peace.